So great to see you. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, and it's really exciting to talk to anybody from Spokane. Just like hearing your voice and knowing that you're in Spokane makes me feel more at home. So thanks for taking the time today.
I was going to say, welcome home. We had an opportunity to meet in 2024 when you were the Grand Marshal for the Armed Forces Torchlight Parade. So just before it started, we had a chance to meet, and you're just spectacular in every way.
I appreciate that. I hope my crewmates agree with you.
I'm sure they do. So, again, we are here today with Commander Ann McLean. We're going to be talking to her up in space. This is pretty fantastic. She is a Spokane homegrown girl, Gonzaga Prep graduate, as well as West Point. So, I have so many questions for you, but we have such a short amount of time. I'm going to get straight to it. As a little girl, tell me about that dream and where you're at now. Did you always want to be an astronaut?
I did. When I was really little, a toddler, my family lived out in Suncrest. And when I was heading off to my first days of preschool, I told my mom I was going to school to learn to be an astronaut. And a lot of people say, what made you think of that? And of course, I remembered about as much as any of us remember being 3 years old. But, I have to think that's when the first space shuttles were flying in the early 80s. And so there was just something that caught my attention and caught my eye and put that magic inside of me. And as I grew up, that passion, that magic never went away, and it never went away even being here. It's just been a lifelong pursuit.
Talk about the roadblocks that you encountered along the way. Did you hear no's or did you just keep seeing the doors open up for you?
Yeah, no, definitely. There's no smooth path to any dream, not just being an astronaut. That's really applicable to anything. There's no smooth path. And, one of the biggest barriers that any of us face is self-doubt or not believing that it could happen to us. We have astronauts from Spokane. We don't have a ton. We're not around NASA too much in Spokane. So when I looked around, there was nobody that was doing what I wanted to do. And, you watch TV and it seems really far away. And so at each step, I got kind of nervous to fail. And I think a lot of people can identify with that. I didn't wake up capable of being an astronaut. I woke up capable of doing the next step, though. And so I think when you start to get overwhelmed on your way to your goals, what I just kept thinking was, okay, well, I'll go to the next step and see maybe if that's where I'm going to fail. And I just kind of kept doing that. And I remember flying down to NASA for my interview, and I remember thinking, well, maybe this is the step that I'm going to fail. When dreams seem really overwhelming, just go, you don't have to think about being at that end state and be totally prepared for that end state. Just do the next step and see what happens.
I love that. That next step, that is always the one that takes you closer and closer to that final goal. How did the Army prepare you for being an astronaut?
Yeah, I think the Army prepared me because they put a lot of those next steps in front of me, and they put a lot of challenges in front of me, and they really kind of taught me what it meant to be a leader. I joined the Army because I was very interested in serving my country. I wanted to fly and serve my country. And the Army just felt like home. When I talked to different people that were in the Army and I talked to all the services, it just felt like the right place for me. And I was really appreciative for all of my time in the Army. I'm still active duty Army. And what it really taught me was what it means to be a leader and what it means to be a selfless leader. And I think, growing up, you picture the leader being the one that makes all the decisions, being the smartest one, being the best one and everything. And the Army was like, that's not leadership. No, 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 no. That's being an expert. What leadership is enabling those around you to be great. They say good leaders create followers and great leaders create other leaders. And, what it meant to give of my time to make somebody better. Really this service leadership is what I learned in the Army. And it really shaped not just who I am as an astronaut or professional, but kind of who I am as a human being. And very thankful for that.
Yeah, who you are as a person, which is so important. And then, so take us through a day in the life of an astronaut.
Well, it's not all glamorous, as you could imagine, but it's pretty fun. It's very unique. So I'm up here aboard the International Space Station. This is our National Orbiting Laboratory. There's currently 7 of us here from 3 different countries, and we are here living and working aboard the International Space Station. You can see some of the experiments and mechanisms around me. I have an airlock right behind me for science experiments to go in and out to the vacuum of space. This is the Japanese module. We have modules that are supported by multiple different countries and agencies from all around the world. And a typical day kind of lasts from 7:30 to 7:30. We have a morning meeting and an evening meeting, and in between there we do the science and maintenance of the station. We have a little bit of off time. They do give us a lunch break, and we also do physical fitness to keep our bodies healthy. You know, it's a non-zero effort to keep your body's bones and muscles and mind strong, and so we do a lot of physical training as well during the day. And then we kind of have weekends off. Some people are really surprised to hear that, but NASA is kind enough to give us a break most weekends.
So what does a weekend look like for you then?
Well, it starts with a chore list. We do have a chore list, and our crew does cleaning. So this is everything. The station stays as clean as we keep it. So there's vacuuming, and there's disinfecting, and there's taking out the trash, or just moving the trash to another part of space station. Really, there's no taking it out. And then other than that, it's just personal time. So reconnecting with family, getting our little projects done that we want to do, whether that's taking pictures or even just looking out the window, making videos, kind of capturing our time. But a lot of it is just kind of recovery. It probably looks a lot like, shockingly similar to what most people do on weekends, right? Whatever kind of everybody needs to decompress and disengage.
It's funny. I was just thinking the exact same thing. Okay, it sounds like my chore list on an average weekend. All right. So, is there any point that you've ever gotten nervous about what you're doing? Is there any fears that you've had or anything that has made you go, oh,
Absolutely 100%. And anybody in this type of work that says they haven't been is maybe not telling the truth. I came across a while ago a definition of bravery that really stuck with me. And it's that bravery isn't the absence of fear, it's being scared and doing it anyway. And, you know, there's been multiple times throughout my training and flying where there's that little voice in the back of your mind that's like, okay, this is a little scary. And it could be you could be fear of failure, or it could be like a physical fear, like something your brain is telling you, hey, this is dangerous. And you go forward and you do it anyway. You rely on your training, you rely on the steps, you rely on the teams on the ground. You very, very much rely on the teams on the ground. And I think that's one of the humbling parts about spaceflight is that, you know, if I went and climbed a rock wall, you know, I went down to and climbed one of our cliffs near Spokane, and I had a rope on and I was managing my own ropes. You know, I'm checking all that stuff myself. But I can't check all my own ropes here. There are things that I rely on every single day, even while I'm giving this interview, to stay alive. And there are people on the ground that are checking those ropes, if you will, right? That are checking all those parameters and taking care of them and thinking way far out in the future. So is there fear? Absolutely. You have to be brave, and you just got to do it anyway, even when you're scared.
it really is all about teamwork. And I don't think that I could sum it up any better than how much you rely on your team up in space and here on Earth to make sure you get through every single day. You know, you brought up a really good point a minute ago, and I kind of want to bring it back to that. The world is really in such a polarized kind of difficult place right now, but the ISS is a rare example of international teamwork. No borders, no boundaries there, no politics at all. What is it like to be a part of something so unified and so collaborative?
Yeah, and I would say you're absolutely correct. And I know that a lot of people that are even listening to this right now, maybe this is the bright spot in their day. It is a very challenging time for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And we are insulated from it a little bit up here. And then we also get this glimpse into, like, what if people were not united by a common fear of an enemy, common fear of another country, common fear of whatever we've defined in our mind is the enemy. And what if we get together because we're really curious about what's out there, or how we can explore, or what we can do when we work together. Just 50 years ago, almost to the day, I think it was 50 years ago yesterday, was the Apollo-Soyuz mission, where a Russian Soyuz spacecraft docked with a U.S. Apollo spacecraft. And just think about the political and the world environment at that time when that happened, and what a beacon of hope that is. And I hope that everybody looks up and looks at us right now and says, this is what we can do when we do work together. And to offer a little bit of encouragement, when I look at humanity, I have such a faith in humanity, because when I look at history, goodness has always prevailed, compassion has always prevailed, being unified and helping each other out, it's always prevailed. So, if the good guy's not winning, then the fight's just not over yet. So if you're worried about anything, just hang in there and take a look at the International Space Station and see what we're doing together. And that's what humanity is really about.
Yeah, you're right. You are such a beacon of hope. So, what would you say to all the kids out there that are listening to you right now and they have big dreams? How do you encourage them?
Yeah, so for all the kids, young adults, or real adults that need a little bit of encouragement, I would say, first of all, seek the long-term wins, not the short-term gains. We live in a society right now with social media and everything, and I can't imagine growing up right now and having access to all that social media and the instant gratification and how many likes am I getting and how many people are following me and things like that. And that's kind of in this category of instant gratification, right? It's the right now, what feedback am I getting? And I can tell you that if I was stuck in a me now instant gratification mode as I was growing up, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. To get to your goals, to get to something that's truly and deeply meaningful, you want to think long term. Do something a little weird, be a little bit different than the people around you, because you have your eye on something out there that in your heart is important. So listen to that little place in your heart that tells you that you're meant for something more, and have faith. So set big goals and then go get them. And it's going to take longer than you think. It's going to be a lot more work than you think, and you're going to be, like you said, a little bit more scared than you think. But that's where the true meaning really comes from.
I think my favorite line right there was, do something a little weird. It's so true.
Yeah, when I played on the national rugby team, that's what our coach told us. He said, if we're going to win the championship, I need you to be the weird one in your friend group. When everybody's doing one thing, you're doing something else, because we all have a common goal here. And it always stuck with me.
What are you most looking forward to at getting your feet planted back here on Earth?
Probably maybe the weather. I like warm weather. I like being outside. I like working in the garden. I like being able to go on runs. And so it's really the simple things. And then, of course, seeing people face to face, seeing my friends and family. I have a good friend who said that she would be an astronaut forever if she could bring her friends and family up here. And so there's some truth to that. So I'm looking forward to seeing the people and feeling the breeze.
I love that. Well, we're looking forward to having you back here on Earth and back in Spokane again, because you are such a beacon of hope for us here. And I mean, such a warrior for women doing whatever it might be, being in space or following their dreams and achieving their goals.
Well, I appreciate it. The love that I get from Spokane when I come back it always gives me a little jolt of energy to keep going. And we've got some incredible people around Spokane that are doing some incredible things, from the symphony to our sports teams, to the arts, it's such an incredible place to be, and full of creative people who really, I don't know, I just love the community there in Spokane. So from the International Space Station and to all the Spokanites out there, love you guys.
Oh, we love you too. Anne McClain, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, welcome home, and we can't wait to welcome you home here on solid ground. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you. You take care.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
And thank you to all the participants today. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.